This week we got a lot of Bleach Rebirth of Souls information, and it's going to help us understand who we have left for the roster. I've previously talked about the roster, but looking at everything that we've got this week, it helps solidify a lot that I've said. So from Stark being revealed to the last VA episode, we have a second opening trailer and a special trailer. It's given us a lot to think about, and I'm breaking it all down. So starting with Stark, it seems some Espada will start off in their Resurrección, similar to Shunsui where he has his two blades already. I had predicted he would be a mix-up zoner and that this would somewhat be his playstyle. So when we look at the VA episode, we get to see Soifon and Hisagi fighting. It's a wonderful backstory that basically explains how Hisagi feels alone after losing Tosen and how Soifon feels a bit similar since she lost Yoruichi. And this relates to how she felt alone and betrayed back in the Pendulum arc. And so this tells us that not only are we getting some fun and interactive fights that are creative and thought out, we'll also be getting some good backstory and things that could have easily happened in the Bleach universe. We also get the fun part of it with the Renji secret story mode, and where he's talking to Orihime, an interaction we don't see very often in the manga nor in the anime. And one thing is that I do like that they added the random little boss fights for Hollows. I mean, sure, yes, sometimes we'll be fighting characters like with Hisagi versus Soifon, but then we'll also be fighting unique and different kinds of Hollows, like how we have the Shrieker who flies, and then we also have this spider-like Hollow that is jumping around the area. It reminds me a lot of old games that I used to play that I've really enjoyed, and that I feel like this is going to be one of those games that I also enjoy just in this era. One thing I found really funny is just how they promoted the VA episode. If you noticed on the thumbnail, what do you see? Orihime. You don't see Renji at all. And I think that was intentional. Why? The thing is, Orihime is popular. A lot of people rag on Orihime, don't think she's playable, but if you actually think about why they put her on the thumbnail, you'll, maybe think about things twice. She is the 6th most popular character in the latest poll for Bleach, period. 1. In the last arc, she really showed out. And I'm not going to spoil this for anybody who hasn't, caught up to Bleach, but she really showed out in the last arc. Additionally, she's always been a popular character, but she is the 6th most popular character, above a lot of captains, above a lot of people actually. And so that's something that we have to really consider. And so when we're talking about why is Ishin in there, and now a lot of people are like, oh wow, is Ishin playable? Well, going back to my prediction for the 1000-Year Bloodwork arc, I still think that he's actually in the 1000-Year Bloodwork arc DLC, but this is a good way to hint at him. We can have him in the story mode and then still keep him as a DLC, kind of poking at him but still not having him. We have him as a model basically. But I'm thinking he is story mode only, seeing as he barely fought Aizen. I could think of a moveset for him, but I just don't think he has too much yet. He's got that little finger flick, but I feel that if we let him get to 1000-Year Bloodwork arc, he'd be able to do his actual release. Where in this, I feel he only has a Getsuga Tensho, and I don't know if that's enough, but who knows? But when we're talking about popularity, we can't avoid talking about Momo. The Momo stocks have never been higher, I'm trying to tell you. Listen, Momo's popularity, in the second poll, she was 9th place when the Soul Society arc took place. In the 4th poll, she was 6th place. In the 7th poll, she got 16th place. In the 8th poll, which was about Zanpakuto's, hers ranked 17th place, above a lot of captains like Mayuri, for example. So the roster has never really been about W's. If it was, my guy, Renji would not make the roster. Ikaku couldn't even defend the pillar, my guy. Okay, Yumachika would be above him if that was the case, because Yumachika at least went up against Charlotte Coolhorn and defeated him. Okay, so I mean, my favorite, Kaname Tosen, he would not even be in here because I love him, but he never got a dub. He lost to Kenpachi and to Sajin / Hisagi, but nevertheless, the reason these rosters are fun is because our favorites are in them and we can make them what they should have been. We can give them the potential and the redemption that they deserve. And I think that's one of the funnest things about fighting games. We can play a side character that we love and that we have fun with. I loved Shino in Naruto. So what I'm saying here is that it's never really been about the W's. It's really always been about who's the most popular, who can be made into the game, and ultimately, who are we going to have fun with? That being said, I really think we have 9 characters left. When we look at a recent update in the Japanese Twitter, it actually tells us that we'll be getting more videos and more updates soon. Now, it said that before we got the Ananyeto / Kai and Shiba trailer. One of the official Bandai trailers have said it's Kai and Shiba, and it hasn't said Ananyeto, but the special trailer did pretty much show Ananyeto as a costume, so I'm gonna take the assumption they are basically trying to do a 2-for-1 situation where they're kind of putting both characters, but it's really one, and I'm fine with that. That sounds fine. Ananyeto could be a Kikon move, and we can call that a day. That's cool. And so, thinking about all of that, back to what my roster prediction was mentioning, I'm thinking we're getting 2 to 3 characters a week starting next week. I was thinking they were going to start ramping up their promotions, but I didn't realize they were going to be ramping up the characters at this moment. I had originally thought it was going to be more spread out, but this also makes sense. So what I'm thinking is they're going to do back-to-back on Mondays. They're going to do 3 like they did the very first week for the next 3 weeks. Or they could, of course, spread them out throughout the week, but I think that's much, much less likely. When we take a look at the roster prediction I made, if I remove the Vizards, we have our roster. Check it out. We have Zomari, Baragan, Yami, Momo, Yumichika, Orihime, Tanza Zangetsu, Daigen Ichigo, and Ananyeto, for a total of 9 characters, bringing us to a healthy roster of 40 at launch. All of these characters are viable for one reason or another. We even have models for most of these characters that I just mentioned. So it's not hard to think of a moveset, and if anything, I've already made archetypes for these characters. We could drop 3 characters for the next 3 weeks, and that would give us 40 characters at launch. I'm not going to get too greedy in thinking that the Vizards are in, but if they are, all the better. But I mean, just going based on the on how they've been treated in the manga and in the anime, I'm not surprised if the game snubs them too. But if they get in, whew, all the better. But yeah, and I hate to be that guy, but I was right about Coyote being with his swords and being a hybrid and being a mix-up. I was right about the 9th Espada and how they do him. When people were like, his moveset's too difficult, he wouldn't even be in. Meanwhile, it was right there. I've got a feeling I might be a little bit right about this, if not entirely, mostly. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.